Good evening, everyone. Happy Thursday. Thankful Thursday. And I am definitely grateful for this day and this time. And I love the time that I spend together with you with Transplant Talk with Shonda. And man, let me tell you, today has been a crazy day. Right up until 2 hours ago, my first guest, and this is the nature of the beast. Your guests have certain procedures they have to do, so we always have to postpone. But there's always a ram in the bush, and tonight's guest uh, comes to me from a very good source, Mr. Jared Brown. Thank you so much for having my next guest on today. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Because I was ready to show a old episode, and Jared to the rescue. I'm so glad that our community, the transplant community, is very close, and we can reach out. And my guest today is Mr. Mark Sandy, all the way from the UK, but who is now here in America, all the way from the big O, Ohio State. So, all you Ohio State fans, hello, hello, hello. And yes, Jared, thank you so much. And I am so excited. I would say he would have the best voice, on the show. And don't tell him he has an accent at all because he doesn't have one. He really doesn't have one. Okay. We just have to get acclimated uh, with my voice and not his voice because I love his voice. Okay. So, again, this evening, he has so many slashes behind his name. He is a true warrior in every sense of the word, every sense. So, he's a heart transplant recipient. He's also an LVAD as well. Like he was a LVAD warrior. And tonight he's on my show. But just to make sure now, I want to make sure that everyone please remember to like us on Facebook and like us on, I got all the wrong things up, right? So don't forget to like us on Facebook, Transplant Talk with Nishanda on YouTube. And again, this is Transplant Talk with Nishanda. And we are here. And a question for my guests: how many of you are organ donors or transplant recipients? All right. So if you would like to be on the show, please, please, please let me know. And again, click that bell, like us, share, share, share. Don't be stingy. I heard someone say, don't be stingy. Share this broadcast. And don't forget to say hello. So without any further ado, I want to welcome Mr. Sandy Mark. Show him some love, everybody.
Oh, there you go. There I am.
Hello, hello, Mark. How are you this
Hello. You
evening?
surprised me then.
Yeah, yeah. I just pop up everywhere. I just, I just pop up anywhere. So again, thank you again so much
You're
um,
welcome.
for being on the show, for standing in, and just being a part of Transplant Talk with Shauna. You are now family
Good, thank
here
you.
as part of the Transplant Talk. And actually, it saved 1,000 lives. I created it. And just a reminder, everyone, I am still looking for 1,000 people to register at Donate Life Florida or register me and become an organ donor in memory of the late Leonard Wayne Larimore. I can't speak today. All right. Okay. So, Mark, let's get into it. Let's get into it.
Let's do
Um,
it.
tell me
First
a
of
little
all, first of all, you're going to invite me to go to Florida. Was that the deal?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Because it's getting cold here.
It was about 50 something degrees here.
Oh, well, forget it then, because it's warmer up here.
Yeah, we were in the 50s. I think the iota it's some kind of storm in the
Oh,
water
yeah,
again. And
yeah,
and so we had a lot of rain. We had a little bit of rain today,
yeah,
and yesterday was beautiful, but Um, yeah, it's not. I'm in Jacksonville, so it's not sunny Jacksonville. But I'm not sure what it's doing in Miami, and
yeah.
so I want everyone to know you and hear about you. Why don't you tell us? Oh, Jared said it's cold in Utah, so yeah, y'all can keep the cold, Jared. I like the cold, but I like Florida's cold. Florida's
Yeah,
cold. I like Florida's cold.
yeah.
Okay, so Mark,
Yeah.
tell us a little bit about yourself. Who is Mark before all of your journey? Before your journey, who are you?
Before, so I was just a regular. Obviously, I grew up in on the south coast of England in a
Mhm.
little seaside town. Um, Met my now wife on the internet. We were like the pioneers of internet dating. We
Mhm.
actually wasn't it wasn't on a chat date or anything. It wasn't any one of those kind of crazy places. But she bought a computer and I was buying things from America, and I just happened to have like this little. It was called ICQ. If anybody's that old, yeah, don't say that. That proves that you're younger than me. Um,
I'm trying to remember.
yeah, wow, I know I'm old, but not that old. So
Okay.
ICQ was like AOL. It's when AOL started doing the
Okay.
whole internet thing.
Okay. Okay.
So she asked me who I was, and I said I'm a pilot, which obviously I wasn't. It's only because I played pilot games. I was a pilot. And then she lied that she was younger than what she was, but it was like a year younger. Like,
Okay.
who lies about a year?
Okay.
So we ended up. I came to America, and after a couple of years, it's like not very romantic. But I said, this is costing me a fortune coming backwards and forwards. Why didn't I just live here? So
Mhm.
that's what happened.
Mhm.
And I think I had to become a resident to start with. So I was once again I was there was just I was a regular guy.
Mhm.
Couldn't work for a little while because you have to go through the whole procedure of becoming an American.
Right.
We
Right.
had my son in 2005, which was the most amazing thing. It was that little boy that I always wanted, and he was like a mini me.
Okay.
And then 2006, I became a permanent resident, which means that I can start working properly and I can do this and do that.
Mhm.
Um, so life just became, unfortunately, I was selling things that I really didn't want to sell, like cars. My wife always said, "Don't tell anybody that you're a car salesman." I was
Uh-huh.
a terrible car salesman because I always felt bad for the people buying the cars because I always sold them bad cars, which my manager was like, "No, sell them these," and I was like, "I don't want to.
Okay.
I can't sell this single mother of 15
Uh,
this car. It's like
oh wow.
So that was pretty bad idea.
Okay.
2009, I got sick, not knowing what it really was. And I literally came home on Christmas
Mhm.
feeling terrible and thinking it was a flu. And it
Okay.
turned out we still didn't know after a while. And they said that I'd had a heart attack, but because I had no health insurance,
Oh.
um, I couldn't have a catheterization. So they never really found out what was going on. If I would have had a catheterization, then I just see Jared put MySpace. That's really funny. Really old. Um,
Yeah. He said
yeah,
his wife met on
yeah,
connected on MySpace.
that's really really old. I mean, they've got to be in the 70s or 80s. Got to
Oh.
be. So there you go. He remembers ICQ.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, so it got. I could feel myself getting like fatigue was happening over the years, and I was stress test. I even went to have a stress test. And it was like I don't know why I'm even here because I know I'm going to fail.
Mm.
It was terrible. So it kind of went on, and then 2012. Once again, I was working in the car dealership, and I absolutely hated it. I
Mm.
became very stressed there. And then 2 weeks, it was the end of November 2012. I quit my job
Okay.
because I'd gone to different hospitals and asking them, "Hey, look, I have chest pains. There's
Mhm.
something I feel terrible."
Mhm.
And because it was coming up Christmas, people were saying it's the stress of Christmas. It's you'll be okay. We'll just give you some nitro things and you'll be fine. And I was like, I swear to you. So I quit my job because I knew something bad was going to happen. And
Wow.
then I believe, my goodness, my memory's gone. I think it was December the 7th, 2012.
Mhm.
I went to, believe it or not, I went to go to Job and Family Services. I had
Mhm.
no insurance, and
Mhm.
something told me in my head, you've got to find some kind of health insurance.
Right. Right.
So I was waiting in line, and I sat down, and I went up to the counter, and I said, I'm going to be outside for 5 minutes because I feel like I'm going to pass out or something. So I went outside and I got on my phone and called my wife and I said, hey, I love you. I don't think I'm coming home, and tell Joshua that I love him. And I hung up, and she called the squad. She's never called the number, but she called the squad, told them to go wherever, call the place, said, you need to get someone out there. These two women come out, talked and talked and talked and talked, kept me alive. They kept me talking.
Oh,
And got to the hospital. I was soaking. I mean, it was like terrible. Just thinking it was a heart attack.
okay.
And I literally, my wife's friend came in. She was at the end of the bed. My wife was, I don't even remember feeling her mopping me, but she was mopping the sweat off me. And all I can remember was looking at my wife's friend into her eyes and seeing that.
Wow.
And I can see that happening. It's like, I'm so much pain right now. And then
Okay.
with all the morphine and everything else they give you, I just went. That was the last thing I remember. Apparently, I gave her the keys to the car, which I don't remember doing. So
Mm.
I must have just been like, here's the keys, and. So 2.5 weeks later, I ended up waking up in Cleveland Clinic, which is 3 hours away from where I lived.
Oh, wow.
In between there, as I know now, in between there, I'd been transferred to another hospital that kept me alive with medicine.
Okay.
They said, we can't, we're going to have to send him to Cleveland Clinic because we just have no idea what to do. And
Oh, wow.
that's when the LVAD was presented and whatever.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So January 2013, I finally got the LVAD, which was a tough thing because my wife was given that. She was given that question: do we give you an LVAD? Do we give you what? I was on a ventilator. I was kept awake on a ventilator. I was crying and So she made the decision. Yes, let's give him an LVAD.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So it was it was kind of like a shock, and it changed my life because I went from being one of the quietest people that I would, if I went to a family get together, I'd always be the one in the corner that really
Mhm.
like say anything. I was like,
Okay.
why are we here? I'd rather be at home, watching TV or something.
But not social at all.
No. I mean, I was, but I wasn't really. I didn't want to be the center of attention. I
Okay.
was always, I'd be social, but I wouldn't get in the middle. Oh, it's me. I was never like that.
Okay.
So I went through the first year of my LVAD.
Mm-hmm.
It was a big life changing thing.
Mm-hmm.
Then and this is weird. My wife brought this up. The first time that I got listed for a heart transplant was the same date as I got my heart 2 years ago. So it
Oh,
was July the 27th, which my first listing was 27th, and I got
okay.
my heart on the 27th. It's like all these numbers are around July. It's the
Right.
crazy things. It's like it
Okay.
happened.
Okay. So let me, if I may interject. Now you had the LVAD. What
Mhm.
year did you get the LVAD?
I got the LVAD 2013.
Okay. But you not only had it once, you had it twice.
So yes, so I had the LVAD up until 2016, and I had an issue. I think it was a liver issue. They brought me into the hospital, and something had been happening with my LVAD, and so I just happened to luckily be in the hospital when this happened. So my LVAD started alarming, which the only way to describe, you know what the LVAD sounds like. A lot of
Yeah.
other people, if you've never had one, if you go into Walmart and you get on one of those little carts,
Right.
put it in reverse, it goes
Beep,
beep
beep,
beep beep.
beep, beep.
That's
Yeah.
an LVAD sound.
Right. Right. Right.
Don't ever go, if you have an LVAD, don't go to Walmart and be around because you will freak out.
Now you're crazy. You go. Right. Okay. Maybe he's frozen a little bit. Okay, but so while I'm waiting for him to come back, all right, we know how technology is. Yes, he also had the he had the LVAD, and he also had the heart mate too, and he had to have the surgery twice. There he is.
So what was I saying? So back to the second LVAD.
Yes.
So they tried to fix it. They thought it was an external breakage,
Mm-hmm.
and it turned out they'd done a scan on me, and it showed there was a dark place inside that was a break in the wire.
Mm-hmm.
So they didn't want me to go home, and that was going to be. I wasn't going to have another LVAD. That was going to be my heart. I was going to
Okay.
have a heart.
Mm-hmm.
When I found a pain on my abdomen, they scanned it. They took a biopsy and found out it was cancer.
Ah.
Once you get cancer, they take you off the list. So
Yeah.
my hope of getting a heart was like, well, that's the end of that.
Diminished. Right.
So then they decided, well, we're going to have to do something. We're going to have to give you a new LVAD, which for your second LVAD, that's a pretty big. It's a pretty big.
Right. Just
So
to cut you open again is
exactly. Well, they put it on the side, which I'm not quite sure how they've done that. Because I've got scar. I mean, heart transplant patients and LVAD patients know all the scars, and I mean,
right.
it's
Right.
crazy.
Mm-hmm.
So they managed to push it in there, but unfortunately, when you push things around inside your body, it pushes everything else out of the way, and it causes. I then had kidney failure and all this other stuff, and so I got the new LVAD. I think it was July once again. That 2017, I had the what do you call it? The kidney issue. So the cancer was taken out, and I then recovered after that. But then I have to be my own advocate and become to actually become to get back on the heart transplant list. So,
How long did that take you to get
to
back
get back on
on?
the heart transplant list, they said it's going to take you 2 to 5 years. And
Mm-hmm.
I'd already been an LVAD patient for a long time,
Mm-hmm.
and you go through a lot of dark places.
Yeah, I'm sure.
If I'm going to have to do this for another 2 to 5 years, I don't think I can do it.
Right.
You know,
Right.
this is tough.
Right. And I've
So,
spoken to a lot of gentlemen, and a lot of the men, stated the mental health is
oh
really tested. And you don't want to necessarily have to, grapple with this and contend with this,
yeah,
because this is your life and you just
yeah,
feel as if you're deteriorating.
yeah,
And it's really, really, I know it's tough on ladies, but the male psyche,
yeah.
and
Ladies
Malcolm talked about it.
ladies are stronger than us
Yeah.
stupid men. We are wussies.
Yeah.
So we may be
You
strong. We
said
may be
it.
like oh yeah, we're whatever. But you know what? When it comes to women give birth, I
Yeah.
couldn't give birth. So you know what?
Exactly.
I'm sorry. I'm one
Yeah.
for the ladies there. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Um, but no, so I went through all that, and I kept presenting. The good thing was I made friends with a lot of surgeons and a
Okay.
lot of the residents that were coming there. We kept in contact, and it was kind of cool. So they were helping me find ways of trying to get this down to like a year. And my urologist, who took the kidney cancer out, he said to me, "I can't help you. I can't literally tell your surgeon that, hey, it's gone. I can't tell you. All I can tell you is I'm going to give you a piece of paper that said there's a 1% chance that it come back." So I'm like, it's 1%. You know, what's the chance? I mean, it's a 1% chance. Why won't you put me back on the thing? So 1 year came and they put me back on the list.
Okay. Okay.
So that was great. I got used to the LVAD again, and you kind of do live with it. It's kind of a strange thing. I had the harness that looked like I was a police officer.
Right.
So I
Right.
looked like I had a couple of guns. I was like, yeah, I always wanted to be an American police officer. So it was
Oh,
kind of,
wow.
people would say to me, "Wow, you're packing," and I'm like, if only you knew.
If only I'm packing my life,
That's
because
right.
my life is, these batteries is what keeps me alive.
That's
And
right.
I've had other guests. Hi, Rod, and hello everyone that's watching. Um, Rod is a former LVAD person,
Okay.
LVAD warrior as well. And so
No worries.
just hearing everyone's story is just always fascinating,
Yeah.
to me. And what I want to know is, I have a few pictures that I would like to just kind of share, with everybody. Are you ready? Are you ready?
Yeah.
Okay, so I would I would go with this one first, and
Look at
that's
those
you and
legs.
your
That's
yeah,
where you can tell that I'm British.
right.
White legs. And my son's even paler than me, so it's really bad.
So yeah, I love the shirt. I love the LVAD.
Yeah, that
LVAD
was
strong.
that was a pretty. It was. I don't know how I suddenly thought we were going to use that, but
Yeah.
I had so many people come up to me and say, "What is that thing around your waist?" As you can see it.
Right, right,
And I have a
right.
video when I was at a TV health and fitness thing,
Mm-hmm.
and the presenter was a TV anchor. She's really awesome, and she'd never met me, and she said, "Oh, this is my new friend," and because we were talking before. And
Mm-hmm.
she said, "So what's this thing around your waist?" I said, "This is to mesmerize the ladies because it has a little light. So I do like to dance on stage, and because you have to really take this terrible tragedy and turn
Right,
it into a humorous thing.
right.
I mean, it's like,
Absolutely.
how can I get past something that how can I get past a tube that's stuck in my stomach?
And yes,
I
that's
pull
what
that tube, it pulls my
right,
heart. I mean, it's
right.
like bam.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah,
Wow. Okay, so I
I
have
don't think I'm right, to be honest.
it. We know who's in charge, and then you have this other extraordinary person. Uh,
Yes, this is my good friend Gene Shamandl. He had an LVAD. He actually, I think he had two. Actually, he about died. He was a CPR instructor. Worked with some professors up in Cleveland, and then eventually had to get a heart. Walked to Washington, the White House,
mm-hmm.
for absolutely no reason. Though he didn't. He done it for a good reason. He basically is a very good advocate for Donate Life. I mean, it's pretty cool. He's kind of like got me in on the whole thing as well with trying to get us on TED TV and whether. But then Corona hit us, so
Right, right.
that was the end of that thing.
Okay. Can I
And
show the other
as you
one?
can tell, he eats very well.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
That
yeah.
belly of his, yeah.
And so I would love to just share this picture.
Yes, that
Yeah.
is probably the most. That's my mini me. So that was 2 years ago. That was 27 months ago. So obviously he's looking at me, knowing what's going to happen next. I'm going to get my heart,
Mm-hmm.
and it just hits him. It's like, this could be either the last time I see you or the first time I see you with a new heart. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, pretty powerful.
Yes.
Absolutely. And he went through this from the age of 7 and he's now 15. So
Wow.
yeah, I feel very guilty because I almost feel like I've changed the direction of his life.
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
it,
Eh,
it needs
eh, he
a
might
lot.
become a doctor.
No, when he was there,
Uh-huh.
he kept saying, "Well, I'm going to be a doctor," and all the doctors were like, "You're going to be a doctor." And it's like, yeah. Now he wants to be either a musician or something like that. He actually does a lot of busking out on the streets, which is actually really good. And he's been asked to be on AGT by one of the producers.
Oh
But
wow.
he doesn't. Unfortunately, I'm telling you on this now, Joshua. You've got to do it. He said, "I don't want $1 million," and I said, "I don't care if you want it or not. I want $1 million." So
Right,
yeah,
right.
you go
Oh
do it, and I'll spend the money.
wow.
So
Well, good luck, Joshua. Good luck.
yeah, and
Good
actually, he's
luck.
going to be this coming week. He's going to be on a teen summit
Oh
online to help inspire other teens. We're doing another podcast. Funny enough, I'm going to be famous for another week. So
wow, wow.
yeah, so it's kind of cool. This has really kind of changed our lives. It's
Yeah.
yeah,
Anything dealing that's like life altering,
yeah,
it really does change because you never really pay attention to it until it
no,
meets you at your door. You
yes.
know, and so even before all of this, were you an organ donor even before?
Um, well, in England, you are an organ donor. When you get your driving license, you automatically become an organ donor.
Automatically.
Yes,
See,
which
America.
over here, yes, exactly. This is what Gene Shamandl was walking to Washington about, is to
Okay.
try and have this law changed where at the time a lot of families don't know people's wishes. I've been into schools with Donate Life and talked
Right.
to kids
Mm-hmm.
and tried to explain to them that unfortunately you get to this point where if you're on the ventilator, you can't make the decision. So make the decision on your driving license.
Right.
But tell your parents, tell
Right.
your loved ones. don't just think that they know this,
Right.
because there will be people saying, "Well, I didn't know." There will be a father that says, "I'm not going to let them do that." That
So I will just assume then that in the UK, this is a table conversation,
yeah,
with the young person that is, eventually going to become a driver. Then
yeah,
this is a conversation. This is not a conversation that is held, especially in the African American community,
yeah,
about organ donation. It is shunned upon, in most aspects of, don't do it, don't become one. If you go
yeah,
to the if you get in an accident, you go to the hospital, if they find out you're an organ donor, they're not going to save you. So we have a lot of myths to overcome
yeah,
here, in the US. But to know that in the UK, it is a conversation piece
yeah,
to have with your family. And then for, your family to know, hey, if something happens, I would become an organ donor.
yeah,
Students, my students are more, because I do so as well, go to, well, before COVID, was going
yeah,
into the schools and speak to the kids. And, more importantly, they never really seen anyone like me that would
yeah,
advocate, who's this black woman coming in here
yeah.
saying, give me your organs? We don't do that, so it's now beginning to have that conversation and bridge the gap between the misinformation or the myths that's
Yeah.
out there, and it just needs to stop. So I'm delighted to hear that. But
So
uh-huh.
now you've said something about African Americans. Now, I as a Brit, we're very outspoken. Sometimes we kind of say things that an American wouldn't say. We
Okay.
kind of like, if you want, okay, Gordon Ramsay, he'll say whatever he wants to do. Corbyn,
True.
all of those ones. They'll
True.
say things because the countries are different. We're brought up very conservative. We don't hug people. When I come over here and I started hugging people, it's like, whoa, I'm not
What's
going to hug
going
you,
on?
shake your hand. But
Right.
now I embrace people. And
Okay.
I actually spoke to, I don't know whether you know Edward Drake.
No.
He has a foundation called Why Not, which looks after
I see that. The
uh,
YNOTT?
huh?
YNOTT, is that
Yeah,
okay?
he's an advocate for kidney for young kids,
Mm-hmm.
and we done this online thing quite a while ago. And he said, "I want you to be on this Zoom thing." So I'm like, "Okay, this is the first time I've ever been on Zoom." It's kind of like, "Whoa, okay." So
Mm-hmm.
there's about 12. Actually, there's probably more. And I came on and I looked at everybody, like in the Brady Bunch where you got the little square around.
Yeah.
I looked at everyone and I was like, am I in the right place here? Because it was every African American person except me. And I
Mm.
felt like I was like, whoa, what? I was the only one that said about African Americans, it doesn't matter whether we're black, white, Asian, whatever color we are. I never realized that when an African American, I don't know whether it's all donations, but African Americans, there's a shortage of people
Absolutely.
signing up. And I'm
Absolutely.
like, well, why? I'm a white person. I am not in any way. We're all the same underneath the skin. We're all exactly the same. It's
Exactly.
ridiculous.
Exactly.
And sometimes I think to hear it from someone like me
Mm-hmm.
kind of makes a African American stand up and like, whoa, this is a white man that's saying about like he cares about us,
Right. Right.
and everybody on this Zoom thing was like, that's actually kind of a point. There's the white guy. He's kind of like the intelligent here. What's he talking about?
Mm.
It's kind of funny because we shouldn't be, at Lifeline of Ohio, they have someone she's African American and she goes into the areas of African Americans.
Mm-hmm.
I find that really kind of sad because I honestly think this is a whole political thing that's going on. I think we should have a black and white going into a black person coming into a white area and a white person going to a black area.
Mm-hmm.
Because it really doesn't matter who's telling you.
Right. It should not matter, Mark.
No,
Howsoever.
I know it does. I know there's a lot of things,
Mm-hmm.
when I first came here, this country has changed. And obviously I had no idea about donations because I wasn't, you
Okay.
don't, if for instance you get cancer, you'll then talk about cancer. If you have a brain problem, you'll talk about brain things. Now
Mm-hmm.
I've had a donation of received a heart.
Right.
I'm a big advocate for
Donate
donate
life.
life.
Right.
So
Absolutely.
never thought about it. And now I'm like, this is crazy that we have to even think about, you
Right.
know, going into different areas of just
Right.
because I'm a
Right.
white man, you
Mm-hmm.
know, I want to be able to, like, was that film, White Men Can't Jump,
Oh
which is
yeah.
true, which is completely true. But it's like, let's forget about that. Let's all just
Right.
like unite and
Right.
my wife was so proud of herself. She went to a hospital and we were part of the Lifeline of Ohio, and we had some neighbors that were African Americans. She said, look, I'm not just saying this, but there is a shortage of African American people that sign up. And she like pushed them, like, you got to do it. You got to
Mm-hmm.
make my day and do this. So they did. They signed up, and it was like,
What is your wife's name?
my wife's name is Tracy Sandy.
Thank you, Tracy. Thank you so much for being an advocate. But it's kind of like they're looking to see who is saying it, who can we trust,
Yeah.
because the trust factor
Oh,
is
yeah.
huge. So if we feel as if we can't trust you, because even most people that I speak to, they're going to come and take my organs right now, and I'm telling them,
Oh, yeah.
no, I'm
Yeah.
not trying to take your organs. I want you to keep your organs healthy,
Yeah.
but if you pass away, then I would like you to consider to
Yeah.
become, an organ donor. I have the Demetrius and Tyrone, the Brisbys. Tyrone is African American. He received a heart from a 14-year-old Caucasian,
Yeah.
teenager. So
Yeah.
at that point, and I tell anybody, when you need any kind of transplant, race is out the window.
Yeah.
Unless you're talking about your height, your weight, and your blood type.
Yeah.
Those are the factors that matter.
Yeah.
After that, nothing else matters. And
Yeah.
until people really, really, understand that concept, then it will be a struggle until people really do, like you said, just open up your mind, which is why I started Save 1,000 Lives, because
Yeah.
I knew I knew in our community there wasn't enough education,
Yeah.
even teaching. And I looked in our driver's ed book at for our county, and it might be one little paragraph there,
Yeah.
one little paragraph, one word, one thing. And I'm looking at, I have to change this. I
Yeah.
have to change this because there's not enough information there. And
Yeah.
I'm a firm believer in, when you know better, you do better.
Yeah.
So if you know that this is something that can happen, teenagers still, they're not as I guess scared or
Yeah.
frightened of organ donation as our older elderly people are. They just won't.
Yeah.
Elderly people just don't want to hear it. But
It's
what I
it's hard when you're in a classroom though, when half of the class, well, I'd say three-quarters of the class are really interested. When I
right
had my LVAD, they were totally like fixed on me, like,
right locked in.
because an LVAD is the regular version of Iron Man. Iron Man has the Hollywood version.
Right
And eventually, and if no one's seen it, I'm sorry, but this is a spoiler alert. He gets a
Okay.
heart transplant.
Mm.
If you haven't seen it, sorry, just ruined it for you.
Right.
But I used to get a microphone and put it to my LVAD, and it used to go. Zzz, 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 zzz.
Yeah.
The kids were like, "What on earth is wrong with this guy? I
Yeah.
mean, why does he sound like?" And then I explained to them, and like, if I turn this button off here, that's the end of me.
That's it.
That's the end. That's literally how
Mhm.
a mobile life support is happening. That's why I need a heart.
Right.
To explain to a kid, well, the only way. Well, here's the strange thing. My wife got a letter from one of the kids, said, "I'm really thank you so much for coming to our school. I went home and said to my grandma, how can I help?" And then she realized that you have to die to give Mr. Sandy a heart. So she said, "Unfortunately, I can't help you right now."
Right. But the real, a lot
Yeah.
of people don't know that. Listen, in order to give that heart, they don't know the difference between, a living donor
Yeah.
or, deceased donor. So they don't know. So that's why education is so important.
So, because only 1% of deaths, only
Right.
1% of deaths are brain deaths.
Right.
That's the only
And
way you can get a heart.
Listen, I know your story is so multifaceted because we haven't even talked about what you've experienced and with your brain and the
Yeah.
other and the other things that you have, going on. Um, but very quickly, the day you received your heart, what paint that picture for me? How was that day?
Pretty wild. It was not like I always imagined being at home having a phone call, but unfortunately I got a blood clot in my LVAD. So I went back in, got checked, and my doctor, who actually became one of my best friends, said to me, "Hey, you can't go. You literally got to stay here until we can find a heart." So I'm like, "Great." And to an LVAD patient, when you hear the word blood clot, it's
Mm-hmm.
doomed.
That's
You're doomed.
frightening. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
So
frightening.
so I got situated in the ICU room, ready, and just sat there and sat there, and then on the seventh day, which sounds like something like in the Bible, on the seventh day, um, suddenly my one of the someone from Lifeline of Ohio, Donate Life, came in. She just happened to walk in, and then suddenly she was followed by about 10 people. And
Mm-hmm.
she kind of looked around like, what's going on? And at the time, I was having my feet massaged by this complete, like one of the masseuses that come in and they help patients like relax. So she's just like massaging my feet, and I'm surrounded by these doctors, nurses, and this doctor says, "Well, it's D-Day." I'm like, oh, "What do you mean?" She said, "This is it. You're getting a heart tonight." And I'm like, "Are you serious?" So this woman massaging my feet, she's like, "Wow." Lifeline of a higher woman, she's like looking at them and like, oh my God, I've just come in to see you. Not expecting. She's the first time she'd ever heard
You're
someone
right.
be told.
You're right.
So
What a
I was
moment.
like, my hand was like, oh my God, oh my God.
Right. Right. Right.
So the doctor says, "Where's your wife?" I said, "Well, this is another funny story. She was on her way here, but I told her to, instead of having breakfast, I was going to have a Big Mac." So, so he said, "Well, how far away?" I said, "Well, she's only 5 minutes away." Well, 2 hours later,
Uh-oh.
she eventually comes back, and apparently she got the car washed and she got everything else done. I didn't tell her. So when she walked in the room, Julie from Lifeline of Ohio was in there, and she's like, "What are you doing here?" She said, "I'll come to see you." So I sat down and I said, "Tracy, guess what?" She's like, "What?" And she knew. She knows I'm a prankster, so she knows something's going to happen. So I'm like,
Okay.
"Well," I said, "Come and hold my hand." She goes, "No, what have you got?" So she held my hand. I said, "I'm going to get a heart tonight." And she just like flipped out. I mean, it was crazy. My son come over and just hugged me, and it was like, yes, it was. And let me tell you, it was crazy because it was the calmest day of my entire life. I
Wow.
literally, it was almost like this stress and pressure just literally left me. It was almost like,
Yeah.
okay, so I'm either going to be here tomorrow or I'm not going to be here tomorrow.
Mm.
This is maybe the start of a life, or maybe this is the, like, you know, and I just, for the rest of the day, it was like, come on, let's get on with this. Let's get this
Wow.
done, you know.
Wow.
So
Wow.
then you saw the picture of my son. I mean, that was just like heartbreaking, but off I went. So, yeah.
Hmm. Wow.
I really wished I'd had that phone call at home, like, "You got it." I'm like, "Oh my God, let's go." And, and
Did you have like a movie playing in your head of this is
yeah.
what I'm gonna do? You had the bad package ready to go.
So it was a little different, but I'm glad because I was there and I was able to, make sure I was prepped and whatever else. And yeah, so it was
Wow.
kind of, it was neat. I mean, I don't want to do it again, obviously. I
Right.
don't want to do
Right.
it again.
Right.
But
Wow.
it was a tough transplant.
Yeah. How long were you under?
Well, it was supposed to get there at 2 in the morning, but I don't think it started until about 6 or 7 in the morning.
Oh wow.
So it was supposed to get there on the 26th, and my transplant was for the 27th. But then
Okay.
they had complications. My kidneys had taken a hit from the LVAD, so
Mm-hmm.
then it was getting a hit again. My livers were whatever. I'd had a stroke with the LVAD, which then caused other issues with this, and then I had lots of fluid on me. It was like I knew nothing about it, and then the heart that I received gave me I had to have a repair on my tricuspid valve, which then I had to have another major surgery to get that repaired. So I
Yeah.
went through psychosis, ICU psychosis. I dreamt that I was in funny enough, I was just dreamt that I was in a high-rise building in Florida.
Oh,
Um,
really?
I was
Okay.
kidnapped by drug dealers, and I kept calling my wife, and then I kept thinking. I called my sister-in-law and asked her for a crate of Sprite on 7 o'clock in the morning. And I said, I need this because I'm in a bank right now. And it's like everyone's like, oh my god, he's like lost his mind. So
I can only laugh because I remember after Leonard's surgery, he came out of that LVAD and just describing all of these different drinks. So I
yeah,
can laugh about it now because we were all told we looked like Jimmy Neutron.
yeah,
Uh, and we all had big heads and everything, was happening. So I
yeah.
can laugh about it because I'm familiar with the strange
It's
dream.
crazy. Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
and in Cleveland, when I first had my heart, when I had my LVAD, I actually met SpongeBob
Yeah.
for real. Yeah. When they put the mask on you for oxygen,
Uh-huh.
you can hear bubbles. So
Wow.
in my mind, I'm at the bottom of the ocean. I'm
He was
meeting
under the
SpongeBob,
sea.
and under the sea. Yeah. There was many things. Yeah. I actually was very. At one point, I shook my mum, who at the time was what was she? She's now 81, so she was like in her mid 70s, and I shook her, and
Mhm.
because I was like I didn't know what I was doing, and I said to her, and then the nurse came in and was like rubbing my back, and she said, "Mark, how can I help you? I want to do something to help you." And I said to her in a really, apparently in a quiet way, "I'd really like to learn the way of the ninja." So I am a 5-star qualified ninja, learn at Cleveland Clinic.
Oh my God. Okay,
Yeah,
so I don't know why you just reminded me. I think the guy's name is Jack Black, I think.
yeah,
Like Kung Fu Panda. I just went there. Okay.
wow,
That's amazing.
yeah.
Man, I don't want to hold you up too long and take up your evening. I do appreciate you so
You're
much
welcome. It's
for
it's
being
been
an advocate, and we just have all of these great remarks, and thank you for again your candor. And a lot of people would shy away from the from the disparities that goes on in the
yeah,
African American community. So, thank you so much for just sharing. I
yeah,
appreciate it, so much. And so it's not just me saying it, it's someone else saying, hey, this is a huge problem.
yeah,
And it's not only in African American community, but we know within the Asian community, within the multicultural
yeah.
community, period.
And that's
You
one of
know,
my goals. That's actually one of my goals to actually, and this is why COVID really upsets me, the fact that you can't get out. Um,
right,
One
right.
of my goals is to just, doesn't matter what church I go to or what business I go to, just to get in front of people like
Mhm.
African Americans or Asians or whoever,
Right, right.
and just talk to people and just, um, you can go to our church and it's very, like a very hymns and wherever else. You go to an African American church and you're dancing and wherever else. It's like I'd rather go dancing, to be
So you
honest.
want to go dance?
Um, so if anybody wants to invite me once the COVID's over, then please invite me.
Well, please, please,
As long as you
please.
give me a plane ticket, I'll go wherever you want me to go.
And I tell my guests the same thing. Listen, I have to come visit you and see what's life like. Let's have lunch or dinner or
Yeah,
something. Once COVID is over,
it's
and
great. Yeah,
this is my father. He said he thinks you did stand up. Your new heart might have given you just a comedic view, the comedy side. So have you ever met your donor family? That's the question.
no, and that's another mental thing.
Okay.
I sent him a letter, or sent them a letter. I don't know if male or female.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think it was about 6 months after. Didn't
Mm-hmm.
get anything back. We then we went to a Build-A-Bear and recorded my heart through a Doppler. You have the Doppler and you can
Yeah,
put it in
yeah.
a Build-A-Bear. And I really wanted to present it to them, but they never reached out. So I sent it to them, and
Oh,
it was this 2 years. So
okay.
they would have, and then I thought afterwards, maybe that was a really bad thing to do because it could. All I know is that person was on life support for 5 days.
Oh, wow.
So it could have been a terrible, tragic accident. It could have been something really, really sad. Well, I
Right.
mean, sad anyway. But now I've just reminded them, and then I'm like, why would I go and send them this bad? Because now, but then at the same time, maybe it's going to reassure them. You know, it's such a. I've thrown many a letter away. Like I write it, and then I'm like, nope, nope, I got to start again, and it's really hard. I started liking noodles after I had the heart transplant. I ate a lot of Chinese noodles, and I was like,
So, do you know if they were Asian? You don't know them?
I know nothing about them. No.
Wow, wow.
And then the other thing that I said to someone, which really annoyed them, I said, you know what, I make a lot of cakes and do a lot of things in the kitchen, so it must have been a woman. That slap around her face. I'm only joking. That.
Oh wow, wow.
But you just, yeah. I don't know. It's I have an angry heart. I know that. I know that. I know that with everything, when me and my son, I take him up to Columbus to do some busking and things.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people, I protect my son. I guard him like
Mm-hmm.
I will get in the middle of a drunk man
Okay.
and stop him getting anywhere near my son. The guy could have a gun or stab me, but it's like he ain't getting past me.
Right. Not that. Yeah, I am the mama bear. I've been called
Yes.
mama bear. My kids are 25 and almost 20, but I am the ultimate mama bear.
Yeah.
You know, don't mess with the kids. So
yeah,
that is just awesome. Well, I do hope and pray that your donor family, you have that
I hope so.
unite with them now. And I'm gonna have to tell Steve and Jared and Jeffrey, you got to do it on my show. So I'm gonna ask first.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
I would absolutely.
And I'm looking forward. I've seen so many people. You know, it's very sad. And actually, I've got a little friend that's just turned 13. I've known him since he was 11.
Mm-hmm.
We met at Lifeline, and he needed a liver, and he
Mm-hmm.
put his liver I think it was about 8 months ago, and we've just seen. She just posted a picture of his donor. It just melts your heart to think that that boy saved another little boy.
Yeah. How awesome is that? Wow.
It's it's really tough, and it's very tough when you go into schools and you talk to teens because they don't really know
The ins and outs.
You can tell a kid that, hey, when you're in a car accident, and then you've got to say, no, not when you're in a car accident. Hopefully this will never happen to you.
Right.
And that's a really hard thing for me to talk about.
Yeah.
Find a way to come across as like, you are, as soon as you sign that to say that you're a donor, you're a hero.
Right.
But you've got to tell your parents, because your parents might want you to be a donor. They might be completely. So that's the thing. It's spreading the love and spreading the truth and spreading.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Angela. Thank you. She said she had open heart surgery.
That's right. It does make you look at life.
Yeah, it does make you look at it. It makes you grateful. It makes you more grateful that you're still here. And God allowed you to be here. And I could totally relate with you and your son, because I know we had our own little saying before he passed away. I'm in a win-win situation. If I live, I'm winning because I'm with you, and then if I pass away, I'm winning because I'm with the Lord.
Yeah.
So I do again. I thank you so much. I appreciate
you're very welcome.
Stepping in, and this has been such a wonderful conversation to have with you. And God bless you. And I look forward to the day that you're able to meet with your donor family. And Mark Sandy, God bless you. God bless you.
And actually, if anybody on here, go to my website, heartofmark.com.
I actually put it up.
Oh, you did?
I'm going to put it right here now.
Awesome. Wow, I've been lost.
I try to be prepared. Once I heard you were coming, I said, let's go. And perfect. Click right there.
But actually, it's the wrong way around. Yeah, it's opposite to me. I'm doing the wrong thing. Yeah. But no, if anybody goes on there and they have any questions, just you literally just click on a thing. You can search me on, like I said, I'm doing a LVAD Friends.
Mm-hmm.
and
Absolutely.
a few other things. But yeah, just message me if anybody wants to talk to me. And
Message him that I'm telling you, when you go to his website, it's just unbelievable. Everything I read, I was in awe, and I had to put the phone down because I was, I can't drive and read this at the same time.
you were
But
driving and reading.
no,
And
I said I could not. I could not. I
hang on a
could
minute, you were on the phone. You were driving and reading.
I could not. I had to put it down. I had to put it down so I could,
Wow.
be into it. Please, my mama would kill me. So we didn't. I didn't say that,
I
mom
didn't hear that. I didn't say
and
it. Wasn't
dad.
me.
I did not say. I said I had to put it down.
Oh, okay,
I
okay.
had to
Before
put it
you
down.
started driving. Okay,
Yeah,
all right.
yeah, because they'll fuss at me if I'm looking at the phone. So,
Yeah,
again, Jared, thank you so
yeah.
much.
Jared's awesome.
Those Brown brothers are just so awesome. And again, guys, check out his site and Mark, just point down to it again, right there, guys.
Oh,
Everybody,
hang on a minute. That
right
there.
there, right there. Everybody point right there. Everyone point right there and give him a call. Support him in any way possible. And I know this is being played in the LVAD group. So hello LVAD community. You are welcome to share your story at any time. Just please feel free to contact me. And
Awesome.
again, you all have a really blessed day. Again, this has been Transplant Talk with Nice Shonda. And next week is Thanksgiving. So I will see you all after Thanksgiving and tune in again. December 3rd, I have a great show coming all the way from Atlanta. And it's going to be another great show. All right, everybody, please, God bless you. And tune in again next week. Good night.
Hi, everybody.
Good night.